Okay.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to our Market Insider. I have a great panel today discussing on and off market listings, pros and cons. And we have a very experienced panel in front of you and on the phone. I'd like to introduce Janie Friedberg, Michal Chamberlain, Jim Nemitz, Mitch Bernstein, Connor Chamberlain, and Jamie Genzer on the phone. So guys, you have a lot of experience. There's a lot of combined years of experience in this room. What is your take on putting listings on MLS or marketing them off market?
So I've been selling real estate for over 30 years in this market. And in that 30 years, I can't even count on my hands how many times I've had an off-market listing. My fiduciary responsibility, as Mia Hall and I were just discussing, is to our sellers and getting them the highest and best price with great terms. And I think that fully exposing it in the marketplace will achieve that goal, as is evidenced by a recent listing that I had where I had demand to show it and sell it pre-market and wound up getting multiple offers, significantly over ask, with amazing terms, so it worked out best for the seller by fully
To be on the
exposing it
market.
in MLS.
Yeah. Now, Mitch and Michal, you guys have had experience kind of doing both. And what are advantages and
No, and
disadvantages?
I totally agree, Jane. Obviously, I think going to the broad market is your best opportunity to get into the broadest pool of brokers and buyers. But situations are different depending on the seller and their priorities. So sometimes, obviously, if a seller is looking for something to sell quietly without being to the broad market, without having people come through it, maybe the end dollar is not their complete goal and it's easy and can be done and they can move on. So situations are different, but probably, 75% of the time, I would agree. Going to MLS, going to the broad market, pre-marketing something through some of the programs that are out there too is dangerous too, because I think that's time on market. So even though it's not on MLS, it's still time on market coming soon. So I think it's just best to go to market, go to MLS, but every situation, depending on what the seller is looking to do, is different.
I think I can kind of piggyback on that, along the lines of what the point that Mitch is trying to make or has made. And that is that there are a few select people who have serious privacy issues. They don't want their friends to know. They don't, for whatever reasons, they just don't want the world to know. And for those people, we absolutely do make exceptions. Once in a while, there is someone who doesn't want anyone in their house, just developers or whatever. So it's we can't go live with them. But if someone's goal is to get the highest price and the best terms for their property, keeping it a secret is counterintuitive. It just doesn't make any sense. And we never know where a buyer can ultimately come from. And the truth of the matter is, until you really go live with a listing, you don't know. And there's so much of the market that you're missing. I mean, we obviously as a company have the capability of hitting a large part of the domestic market, but we still miss a huge portion of it. We lose the entire national market, we lose the entire international market, and it's a huge disservice.
Well, especially now, the way people are searching. People search online.
And the way and MLS basically populates all of these other websites.
Yeah.
So the question I think any seller should be asking an agent who's proposing an off-market campaign is, who is this? Is this really benefiting the client, or is it benefiting the agent? And I just fear sometimes in this marketplace that sometimes it is for the benefit of the agent or the agency to do it. And not always, but sometimes it may be self-serving on the part of the agent to suggest this plan. I mean, I think every agent should present the different options that a seller has. But I think there's usually a compelling argument for going live with the property.
I agree with that. I think that if you have a property that is, as you said, could possibly be that the seller doesn't want people to know, but I think that brokers trying to promote themselves as selling off-market listings is just really not doing the service because they're just exposing it to their direct group or if a company is able
Right.
to promote it a little bit more, but I think that, just think that it's, as you said, it's self-serving, and I don't think that, I think there were many buyers out there. There are new buyers that are coming into the market that might not know about it, that have a circumstance where they have to buy something quickly and are a cash buyer, and if they don't know about the property, how
Right,
does the seller know that they've gotten the best
right.
price?
I think it's, I was thinking about this on the way out, getting here, and I think, the word I would describe is marketing this way is really a ruse that people have sort of used to, position them in the eyes of the seller or the buyers to basically, say, I've got control of this.
Mhm.
And I just saw recently a study by Zillow where they interviewed 10 million, not interviewed, they looked at 10 million transactions.
Hmm.
And they came away with was that there was $1 billion sitting on the table
Wow.
by not using multiple listing. And
Wow.
I think that says a lot about how to do business. And I think we've all that have been in this business love to tell people that we have pocket listings.
Right,
But to actually put something out without hitting the entire market, to me, is a huge mistake. And if you want to get the best price for your client or your seller, you should use multiple listing service, period. And now, as Mitch said, there are cases where clients want to do it a certain way, but I think it's our responsibility to explain to them
right.
what they're giving up.
Educate them,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, MLS was created for a reason, right? And especially since COVID, the market has become more global. People are relocating from different regions in the country, in the world. And if they don't have access and knowledge about some of these listings, the seller's hurt.
I think our market is an anomaly too, because we're not in further west. And so I think that there are an abundance of buyers that are looking for properties. And I just think that you're not doing your seller a service by promoting it fully, because there's so few exceptional properties on the market. And I think that you could really achieve even better than you thought you could achieve
Right.
by exposing it to everyone.
And I think there's another, there are some agents who say, okay, we're gonna do an off-market campaign, and at some certain inflection point, we're gonna switch to MLS. And here's the hazard with that, because there are certain agents in the marketplace who, that's kind of their MO. So you know that when they go live, they were unable to sell the damn thing. And so then you just automatically know that when they put it on MLS, it's overpriced. So you can get kind of a bad reputation inadvertently by going that route sometimes. So,
And I mean, I'm gonna be devil's advocate, right? So there's maybe, if you did a preliminary campaign to test the price, right? And you realize that, okay, it's crickets and the people that know about it are not responding.
Right.
And then
you know you're overpriced,
and
and you can put the right price on MLS.
Yes.
But you're talking about a short test
Very
period.
short.
You're not talking about a long campaign where they get all the people in the marketplace and then they finally go live when they can't sell it. You're testing out a price, which I
Yes.
think is valid,
Yeah.
and you can also accomplish that with previews and that kind of a thing, and getting the agents in and getting their opinions, so.
I think the one thing is that's great about this group that's on the phone and here is that we've all been doing this longer than TAN has been around.
Yeah.
So Top Agent Network, and there was a time, maybe it was short or maybe it was longer than we care to remember, but there would be a few buyers that were willing to pay a premium for an off-market listing. Fact is that TAN has basically MLS. It's no longer
Yeah.
the top 15 agents.
It's
It's
everybody.
whoever the heck wants to pay for it.
Yeah.
So when you go on TAN, you're on MLS whether you want to believe it or not. The only difference is that the buyers do not see it come into their feed unless it's coming from an email from the agent. So they're gonna know about it. You're not making, I just don't think that you're fulfilling, like Janie said, your obligation to your seller as a fiduciary to generate the highest and best price. I also agree with Mitch, where it's, maybe that owner isn't wanting the last dime, but they want the best terms for themselves and they want it quiet. I can respect that. We can go any way they want to go. But my feeling is that in today's market and our environment, if you're not an MLS, you're not generating the best possible offer, regardless of number. Terms are important too,
Right.
like Jim said. So I'm a big believer in getting to the public as quickly as you can.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you, everybody, for your input. Great discussion, and reach out to Coldwell Banker, Newton, Brookline, Chestnut Hill, and Hammond Residential with any questions.